Hi everyone, this is Jim Tolles. I'm a spiritual teacher. I write regularly at spiritualawakeningprocess.com. And of course I do these videos that you can find on my Jim Tolles YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about, do relationships get in the way of spirituality? Before I go further, I have a quick reminder that I have more links and resources below this video. There's a way you can sign up for a free newsletter, and you can also donate if you want to support this work. Do relationships get in the way of spirituality? No. That's the answer. It's no. They don't get in the way of anything. The path to realizing spiritual freedom is realizing we're all one. So how can anything in that oneness ever be an impediment to oneness? It really isn't. I think there's this idea of spirituality as this solitary path. Like it has to be that way if you are going to be serious about it. But that's just one way to live and explore life. Are there times when being solitary is helpful, when we're doing some of the deep inner work? Sometimes for some people. Not necessarily for everyone, but at times when we're really trying to figure stuff out and break out of old patterns and old attachments, being on our own can be useful. For someone else, it's running away. So this answer is going to be kind of personal in terms of, does it help you in the present moment to be on your own or to have social support? It's often the opposite of our preference. So those who want to be on their own, you might need more social support. And for those who want social support, you might need to do this on your own. It's not always opposite day, but it often is. Obviously, we can learn a lot in relationships because they mirror back so much to us. And whether that relationship is a friendship, a romantic relationship, or relationships with your kids, whatever it is, there's a lot we learn there about ourselves and how we respond and how they respond to us. Usually the solitary times that some of us go through are temporary. Because once you figure something out, it's actually useful to come back into society and to see, are you really clear of the issue? Because if you are, then you can be in spaces and situations that before would trigger you and you'd be upset about it and all that sort of stuff. Or it's not just upset, but be desirous and be like really hopeful and loving and in sort of unconscious ways. So we can go any side of the spectrum with being triggered. But if we come back, we've released something, then we're just very peaceful. And peace allows us to be loving and open and all sorts of different things as well, but it doesn't get attached to them. It doesn't have to have them. It doesn't feel lost when those things go away, as all experiences go away. In this way, relationship then becomes a testing ground. It's like, okay, let's find out how much attachment we've let go. Because the more at peace we are in a relationship, that tends to show that we've really let go of stuff. And it's not a forced peace. Forced peace where someone's trying to act like they don't care. That's another ego game. It's trying to prove something to itself. We're not trying to prove anything. We're just dissolving, dissolving the ego to realize that we're one with all. One with all of consciousness, and all of life is consciousness. Those are things that have to be realized. It's not an intellectual idea by itself. An intellectual idea is kind of useless. The intellect serves a certain level of purpose in this work, but it needs to be understood as serving one level. But there are other deeper levels of us that need to be engaged with, and generally speaking, drive the show much more. So the unconscious emotional choices tend to be far more important than the ideas we get attached to, because we're much more attached to emotions and we're more attached to a sense of safety. Relationships can trigger lots of different things in different ways, and that's actually more information. But at no time do they ever really get in the way. That doesn't mean we stay in toxic relationships. right? Because I know a certain type of person is looking for an excuse to stay in a situation they know should leave. Generally speaking, as we let go of attachments, we don't stay around people who are intentionally abusive towards us. There's no point. We may be one with them, but we don't have to be around them, right? Because we're one with all of life. So why would we be so exclusive in that regard? Exclusive to being punished in our human form in some way. A lot of things shift as we go. And the types of relationships that we choose to be in shift as we go. So we're not creating attachments to relationships. We're dissolving them. And dissolving them, we can be in all different kinds of relationships. So once again, we become more free on this path. The biggest thing, as always, is going within. That it's not usually as much about what's going on around you. It's not about getting to a better relationship. It's not about running from relationships. It's not about getting to a better set of relationships in a workplace. It's about understanding yourself. Some things legitimately kind of get in the way, and some things we already know we don't want to actually be in them, so we honor that. But being solitary isn't inherently spiritual, isn't inherently the correct way to do anything. In many regards, this path is about honoring our individual needs and tuning into them. So before making any decisions about relationships, you should slow down. Use meditation and other tools I talk about, like coming back to awareness and breathing, to really look at yourself. Some relationships that have been difficult, we start to realize we are the ones making it difficult. When we discover that, then actually relationships can be semi-transcendent to help us to really transcend our attachments, because what we've now realized about ourselves, and that we can start to transform the relationship that before seemed like an obstacle. Anyway, these are some quick thoughts. No, relationships don't get in the way of the spiritual path. You don't have to be solitary. Sometimes we're solitary for a little while when we're doing some deep inner work and we just need to figure ourselves out. But ultimately we're one with everyone and everything. So we can't escape anything. I hope these are helpful. Have a beautiful rest of your day.